This is John Stewart, Green Lantern of Sector 2814, and you are listening to Geek Talk.
This is Professor Charles Xavier. There are more powerful mutants out there, but they're listening to Geek Talk.
What's up, everybody? It's Brad Hawkins, Ryan Steele from VR Troopers. We are VR, and you're tuned in to Geek Talk.
This is Dr. Egghead. How am I supposed to conquer the world and build the Eggman Empire if they're always listening to Geek Talk? Hedgehog!
This is the Didact. Humanity's imprisonment is a kindness, but not while listening to Geek Talk.
This is Ryu from Wreck-It Ralph, and you're listening to Geek Talk.
Hadouken!
This is Marek Ishtar. Let the shadow game begin. You're listening to Geek Talk.
This is Juno Eclipse. I've got a bad feeling about this, but you're listening to Geek Talk.
This is Commodore Don Krieg of One Piece. Don't ever defy me. Listen to Geek Talk. That is an order.
Hi, this is Greg Weissman. I was the creator and one of the producers of Gargoyles, and you're listening to Geek Talk.
Hey, it's James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Master Plo Koon, and I sense the Force is strong with Geek Talk. Master Plo, do you talk geek? Koto-ya, Obi-Wan. Koto-ya. Oh, Koto-ya, indeed. Now, if anybody else can figure out what he's talking about, let's listen to Geek Talk.
And today on Geek Talk, I've got my fellow co-host, Gina.
Hello!
And, of course, I've got our legendary, over-the-top special guest today, James Arnold Taylor.
Well, thank you. That's it. Come on. Cut it out. Cut it out. Too kind.
Fanfare! Woohoo!
Yes.
Thank you. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Being a geek myself and the fact that I make a living talking, I think it's appropriate that I'm on the show.
Yeah, it's actually it's fun having you on, I mean.
Well, good.
So, basically, you've had quite the career overall with different characters.
Yeah.
What's it been like to be even part of Star Wars?
It's an amazing thing when you look at your life and you step back. And I look at all the things I've been able to be involved in. I mean, and being in franchises like the Back to the Future franchise, or the Transformers, or the Despicable Me, or all these different things, and then getting to actually say Star Wars as well. It's pretty amazing because, of course, it's the biggest thing ever, and I'm so fortunate and blessed to be the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi for Lucas for the last 12, going on 13 years now. It's one of those things where you wake up and you pinch yourself sometimes. You go, wow, I get to do this for a living. So, Obi-Wan Kenobi is not that far from my voice. It's just with an accent, and so it's not a stretch. But it's still a stretch in the capacity of this is an amazing character that holds so much lore to it. And this is the crazy part, I've actually voiced more Obi-Wan and acted as Obi-Wan more than any other actor. So that's really cool. I just kind of go, wow, the beauty of animation.
Right.
Can I ask this question really quick, Tony?
You can ask whatever you like.
Yes. So literally, you gave the whole youthful essence of Obi-Wan in the TV show. I mean, we would have never known Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars, really, until you gave him voice, and then we saw, you in Star Wars Rebels for a bit. And is there a transition you did with his voice?
Yeah. Thank you for asking. There is, Obi-Wan, of course, originally voiced by Alec Guinness, beautifully, wonderfully, as old Ben Kenobi. And these aren't the droids you're looking for. And he's got that great kind of, bit of his voice. Right. But Ewan McGregor took him. And when you listen, if you watch, like, The Phantom Menace, and his very first, I have a bad feeling about this. Not about the mission, Master. It's something else, more elusive. He's got this... when he first opened his mouth, I went, oh my gosh, he's channeling a young Alec Guinness, but he's putting his own spin on it as well. And I just have so much respect for both of them. But Ewan McGregor is just fantastic in what he did with the character, and he gave it layers. So he's got that, you look tired because of your mother. Dreams pass in time, Anakin. Be mindful of your thoughts. It's all in there. But then if he's, come to your senses. What do you think Padme do if she were in your position? He's got this rasp to his voice, and I was able to cue in on that when we were doing the video games and such. That really allowed me to keep my job. But then it allowed me to take it into the world of Clone Wars that we all know now, and have George Lucas and Dave Filoni say, make the character your own. And so I was able to really kind of take it and morph it a little. And Dave had his own vision of Obi-Wan as well. And it wasn't, so like, if I'm doing Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan, it's up higher. It's up in here. And Dave wanted him more reserved most of the time. And, because at this point he's really teaching Anakin. He's really trying to be a father or a brotherly figure to him. And so we brought him down a little bit more, and he was a little more serious at times. And so, there is if I listen to it now, I go, I don't necessarily hear Ewan McGregor as much in my voice as I hear Obi-Wan. And that was the point. That was the hope. And so what a great opportunity to get to do that. I was very fortunate.
That's pretty cool. And you've actually done a ton of superhero work.
Yeah.
One of the favorites
I am more superheroes than I can imagine.
I actually like The Leader as far as some of the superhero work that you've done.
Thank you. I love The Leader, and I was just in the studio a couple days ago doing the last couple episodes of Hulk and the Agents of Smash. I'm really bummed that show won't be on anymore after 2 seasons. We did 2 seasons, but I love, first off, it's fun to be the bad guy every once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
But the leader, I will get you, Hulk, and your Agents of Smash. And he kind of, throughout the sessions, we would joke he was kind of like in Lost in Space, the professor there, you bucket of bolts, he turned into this, kind of bumbling, it was great fun to just be able to go everywhere with a character and to not have to worry about being the good guy and the hero and instead he's just a bad dude with a big brain, and I love The Leader. It was really fun to put my spin on him. So thank you for saying that.
Yes, and basically I'm a superhero fanatic myself.
Oh yeah, okay, good.
Basically you've done so many out of all superheroes, past, present, and future, which would have to be your key superhero to actually do a voiceover for?
Well, gosh, it's a great question. I grew up reading comic books, Marvel and DC, loving them both pretty equally, but probably leaned a little towards more DC as far as my favorite characters. I loved The Flash, and I loved Green Lantern. And so The Flash, I still have all my old Flash comics. And I finally got to voice him on Young Justice, and there was a celebrity that was voicing him originally, and then I came in on the last few episodes to replace him because he was unable to due to filming or something, as it happens. And so that was really cool. But then I got to voice him now for all the Lego movies and such that are coming out. And so I'm the Flash, and it's a different spin on the Flash, which is really pretty cool. But so that was neat. But I loved being Spider-Man. I love being. I'm also just lately I've been Magneto in the Silver Surfer, which has been really cool.
Magneto is this grand voice. You pathetic humans, you shall not defeat me. I am Magneto.
And he's just so it's. Of course, it's fun to get into a studio and be that. I mean, that's pretty awesome. And then the Silver Surfer, everything is very serious, and he, wants to know the answer. He takes everything at your word, and so it's a great character as well. And it's been fun. And then Iceman, I got to be the Iceman. I don't know. I'm such a superhero fan myself. It's kind of like, how do I pick? But the Flash was probably one of the coolest ones to get to actually say that I got to be.
Well, that's pretty cool. And when you go into, like, say, the studios and stuff, how do you prepare yourself? Like, say, do you kind of, like, say, your voice or whatever?
Yeah, when you go in, so it depends. It depends on if I'm doing a voice double for a celebrity, say, like I do a lot of Jay Baruchel's doubling for How to Train Your Dragon. So if he's not available, I'll fill in for him on the games and such. There's a TV show, so I record all of the lines for the TV show before he does. And so I will, I'll listen to Jay Baruchel's voice, and I have a, on my phone, on my iPhone, I will listen, and I'll just hit that, and then I'll listen to his voice. Okay, I'll get into character, and then but it depends. It depends on who the character is and what it is. If it's a lot of times, like with the Clone Wars, we didn't get the scripts until we walked into the studio. So, you have to learn to kind of live on the fly. And so many of these things are top secret. Now I'm working on some that, next year if I come on your show, we can talk about. But right now I can't. Right now I can't mention them. But
there are some next year, right?
Oh, yes. There's some very cool projects that are coming out, that I got to voice characters on that you will love. And it'll be like, oh, that's so cool. And then we'll get to talk about it. But the preparation for it is always, part of it. You just go in. Being a fan of comic books, being a fan of movies, I picture them in my heads, when I come in to do it. So it's, I'm just a geek. So, again, appropriate that I'm on your show.
Yeah, and something that I know Gina loves, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
I'm sorry.
You actually did Fred Flintstone on that show.
Yabba dabba. Yabba dabba.
That's all. That was pretty much all he said, except, "Oh, Fred." And I've been the voice of Fred up until just recently. For the last 10 years, I was the voice of Fred Flintstone, which was a great honor to be able to do that. And I was the third voice of Fred, official voice of Fred Flintstone, and getting to do it on that show was great fun because of I love that show. It's just a fun show. And Richard Horvitz is just one of the most brilliant voice actors. He's so crazy. And so to get to work with Richard in any capacity, he played Billy, of course, was great. But then to get to play him as Fred, as a caveman that's been brought back to life, unthawed, and only says yabba dabba throughout the whole thing. Pretty great. So
you're paid by the letter, huh?
Yes, exactly.
And as far as for me on Nickelodeon series and cartoons like that, Danny Phantom would have to be one of my other favorite.
Oh, yeah. See, I love Danny Phantom. And David Kaufman did a great job as Danny. It was interesting because it was between he and I originally for the voice because they wanted a Michael J. Fox voice, and both he and I had done a lot of Michael's doubling in the past. And so they did another show. The creator of that, Butch Hartman, did 2 shows. And he, as they do, writers, they'll pitch a couple shows and they hope one of them goes. And Danny Phantom was the one that got picked up, but I had done one, which was Sprig Spivak. It was an offshoot of the how am I forgetting? It's completely skipping my mind. The Fairy Tales show that he did, and it's ridiculous that I can't remember that. Tara Strong is going to be so mad at me because it's her show. But anyways, so I did this character, and it didn't go. But so they brought me in to do a character for Danny Phantom as kind of a okay, well, your show didn't get picked up, and so I got to do the farthest thing from my regular voice and Danny Phantom's voice because we didn't want to sound the same. So I got to do Walker, who was just this great character. And originally they wanted it kind of a Billy Bob Thornton kind of thing. And I had been Billy Bob Thornton's voice double for years. And so I was like, yeah, I can do it like Billy Bob. We could do it like that. But
instead he turned into this more of a, he was a big ghost and he had a big voice and he was great fun. Walker, that's against the rules. That was his line. So yeah, really cool. Thanks for mentioning it.
But yeah, that was probably one of my favorite cartoons that Nickelodeon could ever produce.
Yeah, it was a great show. It's a lot of fun, and I think there's still a big following of that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take the way back machine all the way back to '93. You actually were part of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog?
You kind of did auditional voices kind of extra voices, probably.
Really? If I did, I don't even recall doing it. So that tells you how far back Great Scott, Marty, you've gone so far back, I don't even remember. Wait a second, Doc, this is heavy. Tony's crazy.
Well, that's the way I am.
Yeah. Yeah, so as a voice actor, when you first start out, you end up doing a lot of shows where you do like the Walla and such, which is just the kind of the background voices and things. And I did that for like Futurama, the first few seasons of Futurama. You can hear my voice throughout there in places, which is pretty cool. It's funny now because, again, all those folks are good friends of mine, but it's like at the time I was just a young kid starting out in the world of voiceover. So, yeah, it was pretty great.
Yeah, you actually had your career start in 84.
In 84?
With Nausicaa?
Well, Nausicaa, no. Nausicaa we did, when we did the American version of it, it was not in 84. It was, the first stuff I did, though, was for Japanese dubbing, and it was probably in 91. And it was, there was a game called Emmett, which was time backwards. And they needed somebody that could do the voice of one character that aged backwards. So he started as an old man. So this is like before The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. He started as an old man and then ended as a little kid. And I was the actor that they, decided could do that. And, I had the range to do it.
And so I started as an old man and doing this old voice. And I think he might have even been,
he was like in his 90s. I might have even been older there. And then progressively he got younger and younger and younger. And then by the end, he was just a little kid. So it was that. That was one of the first big ones I did. Yeah. But I don't know if that's even, I don't know if you could even get that anywhere now. I mean, that was so long ago, but
yeah, it probably might be on VHS.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? But yeah. So
I also like Johnny Test. I used to watch.
Yes.
Johnny Test is totally awesome. Johnny, we did.
So that show is the show that you never would have expected to go more than one season. In fact, all of us thought, we'll get a season out of it and that'll be it. And it went 6 seasons. And they talked about doing a 7th season, but then I don't know what happened there. They decided not to. But Scott Fellows is the creator of that show, and he created Fairly Odd Parents. That's the show I was trying to come up with before. Fairly Odd Parents just came to mind. And Scott had been on that. Yeah. So Scott and I had met on Fairly Odd Parents, where I was doing Spriggs Spivak and stuff, and he's a friend of Butch Hartman's. And so he had this character, Johnny Test, that is really actually based on him, because he has 2 twin sisters, Susan and Mary, that used to just make him do terrible things, eat this bug, whatever. And so he created the show because his twin sisters, Susan and Mary, are geniuses on the show, and they make him experiment, and he's the test subject. So, but he brought me in to voice Johnny as well as other characters on the show. And we did it, and it went to pilot, and then they decided to recast everybody in Canada because they do that sometimes to save money. But they couldn't find somebody to do the voice of Johnny, and it wasn't what Scott had envisioned. He liked my voice. He was always hearing my voice in his head. So I had to go back in and re-audition for my own job, and I got it. And so the rest of the cast for Johnny Test is in Canada, and I record here from my studio here. And so it's pretty cool. And the actor that plays Dookie now, Trevor Duvall, who's is an amazingly talented voice actor. He just recently moved to Los Angeles and has been doing more work out here now, so we get to see each other quite often, and it's pretty cool. So I get to hang out with my dog Dookie. Pretty good.
That's pretty cool. And when you did Back to the Future, have you ever had a chance to meet Christopher Lloyd himself?
No. So, we both lived in the same town, which is my hometown of Santa Barbara, and I lived there while we were recording the game, and he was living there. And it was funny. I was just telling a friend today how I would end up going to stores, and they'd be like, "Oh, Christopher Lloyd was just here," and man, I kept missing him. So we never recorded together, but it was great because I'm such a fan of his work, and I had done that voice in my stand-up act and through years of stuff, and Yeah, great Scott, Marty. So you've got Doc Brown, and so he did him as the current Doc, and then I did him as the young Doc. So you taking a voice like Christopher Lloyd's and making it a 17-year-old is kind of a tricky thing. But the folks at Telltale and I worked on it, and I put a little Michael J. Fox in there too, because there was a little nod to that. Because I think everybody's assumption was I was going to do Marty McFly in the game, but AJ Locascio is just this wonderfully talented young voice actor who came in and blew everybody away with his just fantastic rendition of Michael J. Fox's voice and Marty McFly. He sounds more like Marty than Michael does now, and so it was really wonderful. So I was again going, ooh, I get to play, the character this time, and so playing young Doc in that was just such an honor and really cool. I'd love to meet Christopher Lloyd sometime. It would be great fun.
See, me, I'd like to meet Frank Oz because I can do his Yoda voice almost.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Good food. Come, follow me.
Oh, that's very good, actually. That is very good. I've heard a lot of Yodas in my day. So that was pretty good. So for me to say, oh, that's good, and to not say anything. See, right. If I don't say anything, or I go, yeah, that's great, Tony. But that was actually very good.
Well,
Tom Kane would be proud too, I think. But
I'm trying to get a hold. I thought about trying to get a hold of him, and
we've been trying, but everyone's busy around this time.
Force is strong with Tom. You never know.
Yes.
I'll send out I'll have to send out some false
beacon
minefields out there to see what happens.
So, and Gina here has some production questions for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go for it.
As the owner of Star Wars Actors Guild 77, we perform, we write stories, we read a lot. It's a lot of work that we do. And all this hard work that we've been doing is not, we perform it on Facebook and Twitter mainly. And it's like, it's gotten us a table for Star Wars Celebration. So I'll see you.
Oh, that's great. I have a table there as well.
Well,
in front of about
you have a signing
5,000
table.
Well, I get to host the main stage, which seats 5,000 people, and it is going to be like a rock concert every day. I'll be interviewing all of the Star Wars, and so you
have a bass guitar.
Yeah, and I'll do my stage show, my one-man show called Talking to Myself there as well. But so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pull you away from your question. So yes, you have a table there. It's great.
It's a fan table. And what we're trying to do is, okay, young people, we have to be very authoritative today. Young people, what does it take to be in production? And I see these credits that you have, and I'm like, wow, he was a producer, a writer, art department editor, soundtrack. You did all this work. It's like, how separated is it from voice to the actual production parts of it?
Well, it's a great question. Thank you. It's one of those things where I think, again, most people that have a love for film or television or just creating, you end up wearing different hats. And I started, back when I was 4 years old, I knew I wanted to do voice work. And I started doing voices and stuff, but also teaching myself the technology. So even back then when it was, tapes and reel-to-reels and you had to cut and paste.
What?
Yeah, oh yeah. And records and stuff. But
records? No.
Yes.
Some of us are 46 years old, so.
Yeah, so you're aware of what these
I'm
inventions.
37, so.
You don't even know what these are, but no.
Records?
He does.
I know what records are.
They're making a comeback, though, too. They are. They're making a comeback, so that's good.
Yeah, because the sound is,
Yeah, it's its own thing. So, yeah, in fact, most people would say that the sound sonically is more true to life on an analog record than it is on a digital recording. But so I know all of it from going in and just loving it all and getting my hands dirty within all of it. When I started at 17 as a DJ, I started sweeping up, and then I would go into the production room at night, and I would create my own fake shows. And I taught myself how to use all of the equipment, the reel-to-reel tapes and everything. And so I've always had a hand in all of those things. So now when I produce something or do something, or if a friend has a project, and I tend to go, okay, yeah, I can do that. I can mix your sound for it. I love sound designing. Ben Burt, who of course is the Oscar-winning sound designer for Star Wars as well as many other films, and also the voice of R2-D2 and Jawas and all these things at Wall-E.
Wow.
All that. He, created the lightsaber effects and every blaster in Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was one of my heroes, and so I wanted to be a sound guy. So I have a recording studio here. I have a production facility here in Burbank, and so we create stuff. It's if there's something that needs to be made, then let's make it, and if we don't know how to do it, let's figure out how to do it. So I think it's really important for people to know their craft and to know all the inner workings of it. I think it certainly helps you in doing whatever it is that you're going to end up doing. If you're a voice actor, it's really important to understand the writing process, or it's important to understand the recording process and microphones and headphones, and you get in front of a camera, you got to know the basics of that too. So I tend to wear many hats because I like doing stuff and I like working with people and I like getting projects done. So if somebody says we should do that, I go, well, let's do it then. Let's figure out how to do it.
Get it together.
Yeah. So I'm working with J.C. Reifenberg, who is a very talented young filmmaker who made a fan film. People may remember a few years ago called Hughes the Force, which combined John Hughes movies and Star Wars. And I got to play Obi-Wan Kenobi in that. And that's when we met. And now we have a production company out here in Burbank that we've just started. And we've got a full facility. And he's got an amazing show on YouTube called The Comm Link that he does. And so
I
with David Collins. Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
Really
so we shoot that out of our studio. Well, thank you. That's shot in our studios here. And it's pretty cool. So I always encourage people to know the inner workings of it all.
That's very awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And let's see, I have, I'm mostly on the Star Wars side because of basically the role play performances. I call it role play performances because we do perform.
Oh, that's
Everybody
great.
thinks we're thinking of it right out of our butts, but we're not.
You come up with it beforehand. That's great.
We have a script and everything. I mean, I saw you role-playing as Obi-Wan Kenobi on Twitter like in 2010. And it was, you only were interacting with people you know. That's all right. We all understand that. But then when you see your character just appear on your feed, I mean, you're like, oh.
People, there's different people. Now, I've always just been me. I've been very open. That might have been somebody pretending to be me.
No, not you, not you, James Arnold Taylor, but like an Obi-Wan posting on your page.
It wouldn't have been me. There are several people that follow me that have the name as Obi-Wan and such too. And sometimes if I see something I like, I might retweet it or something. Maybe it was something like that. But but I would, I only speak as Obi-Wan if everyone knows I'm doing it. Yes.
No, but that's what we kind of do. We actually appear, like as the character. And the funny part is they actually think we are.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
So we start doing, okay, well, we'll start performing on you. And then all the other actors are like, what are you doing? And we're like, yeah, it's all in good fun. But anyway, I had the Star Wars side of things, and one of them was, how did you basically decide Plo Koon, a Keldor? How did you decide he would sound like that?
Well, the thing is Dave Filoni, our director of Clone Wars, his favorite character is Plo Koon, and so he had a very specific tone in mind when he first came to me with it, and it was early on, of course, because he's in the first episode.
Okay.
But
the Dave Filoni loves Plo Koon.
Yeah.
One of my co-hosts on the Voice of the Republic has been.
Thinks he's Plo Koon.
He loves Plo Koon.
He thinks he's Plo Koon.
Well, yeah. So he gave me very specific specific words. He said Gandalf. He said, think Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, think Ian McKellen. And so I thought, okay, well, Gandalf. So I shall put on that voice and we'll do this. And after that, then it's taken and it's put through a bit of processing. And they put it through a processor and they pitch it down a bit. And so by the end, you'll get Kotoya, Master Kenobi. So I've got a little mug here. I'm just kind of faking it. But when I go into the studio to do it, it starts right in here is Ian McKellen. And then from there, it goes wherever Matt Wood would take it. Matt Wood and David Acord being the sound designers for all of Lucas. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's pretty great. So it's just and then he takes on a life of his own. It's once you get into a character and you realize where it's going to go and where it's not going to go and what you're going to do with it vocally, you just sit in that pocket and you just soak it up. So it's pretty great. I love Plo Koon. He's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, and then Reiko Hardin, is he like a modified version of any of the characters you voiced?
Hardin, is interesting with Hardin. It was one of those things where I walked in that day, and, we get the scripts as we record. So I hadn't seen the script. I didn't know what was happening. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the episode with Reiko Hardin, you might want to look away for right now, or listen away. Turn your ears away. So I get the script, and the first thing I see is that Obi-Wan Kenobi is killed. And I'm like, what? And so that was, Raggy. And so, yeah. But I had come in, and I had I was having a really bad allergy attack. And so my voice was shot. It was very rough that day. And so it worked for Hardin, because they wanted him to be pretty different from Obi-Wan. And, of course, they wanted him to be American. This was all George. George had this very much in mind. And so Dave was like, we want it to sound as far away from Obi-Wan as possible so George doesn't know that it's you doing it. And so we did that. And it was easy because I had this great, resonance from my allergy attack, but Obi-Wan sounded terrible that day, so I had to go back in the next week and I had to re-record all of Obi-Wan's lines. But it was pretty cool, except for like the part where he eats the big spider thing and it changes his voice. That I did that day, and that was pretty fun to do because it's just kind of creative.
It was real.
Yeah, it was real. So, but and thank God they don't really have that. I'd be out of a job if they had those modifiers where you just swallow it and you could talk like anybody. But but yeah, he's pretty fun. He's fun.
So which has been your favorite villain that Obi-Wan ever faced on the Clone Wars?
Oh, well, come on. I'd have to say Darth Maul, right? Sam Witwer did an amazing job bringing Darth Maul to life. And such a wow, the stuff that he did, that Maul did. Again, spoiler alert there if you haven't seen Season 5.
No, you're missing out.
But that was really unexpected because, again, we got the scripts that day, so to see all of that. But to work with Sam in the studio and stuff was great. And just getting to take those characters to places that I think we all kind of wished we had gotten more of in the movies. I always wished that Darth Maul was in the second and the third films, too, that he was a villain that lasted throughout instead of just being killed. I mean, I'm glad that he was done away with by Obi-Wan, but as I said on the Clone Wars, I should have aimed for his head or his neck when I cut him in half. But yeah, I think that Darth Maul was you don't get much more of a baddie than that guy. He was pretty great, but also Savage Opress was fantastic. Clancy Brown, who's a dear friend, just did an amazing job bringing that character to life. So it's pretty cool.
Right, and there's a new movie coming up, right?
A new movie.
Episode 7.
Oh, is there another Star Wars movie? I hadn't heard.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to...
Of course I know that.
So, have you had a chance to see the teaser trailer?
I have. I was one of the first people in Los Angeles in line. I watched it with Kevin Smith and J.C. Reifenberg and all of our friends, and we had a whole back row. We got there at 5:30 in the morning and waited in line just to see the 80-some-odd seconds of the trailer. In fact, I gave a review of it you can see online. But, I think it was pretty great. We did a comic episode, too, where we kind of broke it down myself and Catherine Tabor, who is the voice of Padme Amidala, and then Kyle Newman, the filmmaker that made the movie Fanboys. Those three of us sat down with David Collins, the host of Comlink, and we talked about it. But it looks pretty exciting. What'd you guys think?
I'm looking forward to it.
You
Good.
see me rolling, and they're hating. That's what they think about the Baldry. They just came out with the names of the characters just now. Just right now. But I have one question. I don't know if you're allowed to do a minor speculation, but you have no association whatsoever, or you can say, no, I'm not answering that. You could say, if you were to play an Imperial, who would you be?
An Imperial, who would I be? Imperial. You remember the old butter commercials? Little crown Imperial. It's Imperial. I'd be that guy.
Oh,
how's that for a baby question?
Oh, Gina got bam.
No, I got an answer. He can't say. Ha Hint, hint. Yeah, well, most of us who are really into it want to see Grand Admiral Thrawn. Oh, all of us want to see Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Well, it's one of those things too where we all have our own versions in our heads too with these characters, and so it's such a tough place for the folks right now making Star Wars to be in, because will it live up to everybody's expectations? It's like, no, you have to, I always tell people, you have to just kind of go, it's Star Wars, just get into it, just let it be, and whoever they would choose to be, whichever character, you just have to go, this is it, this is what we get now, because you read a book for so long, you read the stories and you picture it in your head one way, and then you see it being acted in another way, and it takes a while sometimes to get used to things, but I'm curious to see what all will happen with everybody and how everybody's going to react to it all. I'm looking forward to it.
And one show I talk about on Geek Talk I talk about almost every time I talk about it, is Gotham, the original Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had a chance to watch that?
So I have not watched it purposely yet, because I'm waiting so I can binge watch it, and because I know it'll probably be one of those things where I'll watch it and then I'll be like, oh well, now I need to see the next episode. I need to see the next episode. So I have not watched it on purpose. I'm going to give it the whole season here. I think are they wrapping? Are they getting close to the end of the season?
They've actually wrapped up the end of the first half of the first season.
Yeah, the first half. Yeah, see, so I'm going to wait, and then I'm going to watch it then. So yeah, I'll have to, I'll come back later and tell you what I think.
Yeah, I myself actually have been in contact with one of the actresses, and I asked her about the second half of the first season, and she said that it'll take and keep you at the edge of your seat.
All right.
That is great. That's all we can ask for. So I've enjoyed the show, The Flash, as well. I think that's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's gotten really good.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it every week because of the fact that I don't have cable here. So
yeah. No, it's well, if you have like Hulu and such, you can see all of them. You can keep up to date with them on those too. So that's pretty cool. But it's a different world now. It's a different world.
Oh yeah. Definitely worth watching a lot of the shows, though, too.
Yeah, indeed. Well, cool. Well, good. So, so any other hard-hitting questions for me?
Yeah, we Star Wars side for a bit. What did Obi-Wan think of Bo-Katan?
Well, I suppose.
Or do you have him?
have to ask Obi-Wan, I suppose. You're asking James, right? No, Obi-Wan
Either
thought.
Either one.
I thought that Bo-Katan was something you ordered as when you go to Chinese. Meal, right? Bo-Katan. Try the Bo-Katan with the sweet and sour sauce.
Because they call you Obi-Teen because you're with Satine.
Yeah, I know. It was one of those things where, with all seriousness, I was looking for the joke, obviously, but I thought it was really cool because we got to have that line too, where he realizes and he says, "I'm so sorry."
And then her eyes cut. They make it look like her eyes cut. Kind of hurt, but then it's like, Kobe, when we get out of here, I will kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a interesting character. I mean, really, it's funny too because she looks like Satine a bit too, but she's this heart. Like if Satine wasn't Satine, this is what you would get. And so, yeah, it's a really neat character. I think that'd be great to explore that character more.
And yeah, Satine was.
And Katie did a great job.
I myself would wonder how long before Obi-Wan went off to the Jedi Academy to train did Satine actually date him or whatever.
Yeah, we never fully got that full story, but I would love to explore that as well. I think that would be an awesome. I wish we could have done like flashbacks in the show. I wish we could have done flashback episodes, but that would have been fun. So to see all the whole thing there, because I thought it was great that they introduced that storyline for Obi-Wan. It certainly gave me a lot to play with. And Anna Graves, who played the Duchess Satine, is just an amazing, talented actor, and she's just wonderful. So it was really, again, spoiler alert, when she has her big episode in season 5, we didn't know that was coming. And so you get the script and you're just like, So, yeah, it's powerful stuff.
So, do you have anything coming up that you'd like to get promoted or whatever?
Well, thank you. Well, of course, people can always go to my website, jamesarnoldtaylor.com, and they can click on all the little things like stage show and see my stage show talking to myself, which I'll be performing at Star Wars Celebration coming up in Anaheim. April 19th, 2015. Get your tickets. Make sure you make it. Of course, I perform it yearly at Star Wars Weekends in Florida.
I've been meaning to try getting to one of those.
Yeah, and I'll be performing the show. I just came back from St. Jude's Children's Hospital in Memphis, where I performed my show. And I'll be performing it in Atlanta a few times soon. But a lot of new, again, Ratchet and Clank the movie is coming out in 2015, and I play Ratchet. It's based on the video games that we've been doing for, oh my gosh, I don't know how many years now, 12 years. And there's some other really big ones, again, that I can't talk about. Most work that we do as voice actors is so secretive, especially in the world of comic books and Star Wars and sci-fi and all of that. You usually can't talk about it. So lots of good things coming. Of course, you can always hear me on Fox as the voice of Sunday Night, Sunday Fun Day, Animation Domination, all that stuff on Fox, so you can always hear me there. I'm the Strawberry Mini Wheats on the Mini Wheats commercials.
Oh, that's you on that voice.
Yeah, that's me. So, but there's always little things here and there, but most of it, can't always talk about. So you have to listen for me, and that's what I love is when the fans go, "Was that you doing such and such?" I say, "Yes, good ears, you heard me." So listen.
Yeah, you have a range, though. It's like, wow, thank you. A good one. Good.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much. I would be remiss if I didn't mention my book because it's the holidays. It's always a good time to look for those perfect stocking stuffers. And my book really is one of those ones. It's called JAT 365. It's James Arnold Taylor 365 Days. You get to spend 365 days with me giving you positive encouragement. So each page is a new day. And it's not a calendar book. It's not January, February. It's just numbers, so you can open it at random as well. And I'm somebody that has done quite a bit through, just the power of positive thinking. And so I wrote this book to encourage people to pursue their dreams and their goals. And it came out last year at this time, did really well at the holidays, so hopefully people will do it. Because it really is one of those great ones where by the end of the year, you have a journal of your thoughts and your dreams and your goals. And because I ask you questions in it and you just answer, and it's very simple. It's a couple of lines, and then you write a sentence or two to just kind of capture where you're thinking that day. So that stuff's going on. It's always going on. And again, it's always at jamesarnoldtaylor.com. People, please follow me on Twitter. I am Jat Actor, J-A-T Actor. And you can follow me on Facebook as well, although I will be honest, I spend more time on Twitter, and I answer people's responses. I mean, that's me. It's not, I don't have people answering it for me. I have me there. So if people want to ask Jat a question, they can certainly go to my Twitter feed.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, if you see a Sabine Wren talk to you in a nice sort of way,
run
that's
away.
me.
No, it's you. Okay.
Run away. Yeah.
Well, you know.
You better run away.
Well, you know, otherwise Master Yoda on Facebook might take and hit you up on your Facebook page.
Ah, yes.
That would be me.
He's the Inquisitor. Okay. We can get you the Inquisitor if you want to mess with him.
Yes.
So, well,
I have a bad feeling about that one.
Yeah, that guy, you know, there's only one girl who can just drive him crazy, and we have found out that it's Mara Jade as a little girl. Mara Jade is a little girl, and she just drives all the Empire crazy. She's just into everything.
Wow. Very good. She's force is strong with her, indeed.
Yes.
So, well,
thank
for coming
you so
to talk
much
with us.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. And I don't get a chance to geek talk quite nearly as much as I'd like. So this has been very, very fulfilling for me. Thank you.
Hey, whenever you want to come back, I'm more than happy to have you back.
All right. Thanks so much.
Yes.
So, all right.
All right. May the force be with you.
And you, and with you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yep.